Hey guys, welcome back. So, in this particular session, we are going to talk about our live project. Now, we have done some work on this already in our previous sessions. So, we have already created our component folder, which is the vehicle insurance, and that will contain all our test cases, modules, test case design, and requirements. Okay. So, we have created the first set of test cases. We already have all the modules, okay, for all these pages. And then we have our test case design for vehicle insurance. And then we have our template as well, okay, which will basically contain all the steps, including the pre-processing process and post-processing. So I have already used all the best practices until now to design all of these different templates, test case design, modules, and folder structure for test cases, and everything is as per the best practices defined by Tricentis. So do try to follow all of these when you are designing or creating your test cases, test templates, or test case design, right? Now, we have also instantiated and we have created four different types of test cases from our test design. One is a straight through. We have got two valid scenarios and one invalid scenario. Now, all of this has got different sets of data, right? And we have also put some verification points in one of our test cases. So you can see a lot of things have been covered already in this particular application. Now, in terms of the end-to-end functionality coverage of this particular application, let's see how much we have covered and what is left. And we would be covering the remaining functionality, the automation of those functionalities in this particular session. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute this, and this will give us an idea of what has been covered until now and what is still left. Okay. Okay, so we have covered until we select an option from the price options after entering all the data like the vehicle, insurance, and product data. And based on the prices, we verify everything which is displayed on this table, and then we select that particular option which we want to go ahead with. Okay. Now, from here on, we have also seen how you can verify a few things on the PDF using the PDF scan. Now we need to integrate that functionality where we'll do some verifications on the PDF after it is generated, and then we click on next. Okay, and then we enter all this information, and then we click on send, and then we verify whether a success message is displayed. So this is the functionality which is left over in this particular application, and that is what we are going to cover. Okay, so to start off, let's create all the modules which are required to cover or to automate all of this functionality, right? So let's go to our module section, and here we have got different pages as you can see, right? And we have got the select price option module, and here we have just got the table. So we can rescan this module, and we can then also put the other buttons which are available here or links. Okay, so let's go ahead and rescan this. And here I'm going to add the download code link. Okay, and also the next button. And these are the things which I require from this module. Now, do remember it's a best practice to not add all the controls on the page for your module. Uh, it is only recommended that you add the controls which you are actually using in your automation for to these particular modules which you are saving. Okay, that improves the performance and also saves you a lot of space if you are working on a large workspace. Okay. So this page is complete now. And if I go to the next page in the send code, okay. So let me scan a new module here. right? So here, what we are going to do is we are going to go to the basic view, and I'm going to just select my fields or controls which I want to scan. Okay. Okay, and the send button. So these are all the uh, things which I need to add. Okay. There is just another thing which I would like to add, and that's the confirmation message. So let me go till there. Okay. And we are going to use the username and password, and I'm going to click on send, right? Now we have to wait until that screen appears, and then I'm going to scan this particular screen. Okay. So we can scan this OK control button, right? And then I'm going to finish screen and save it, close the module, right? So that should create our module for send code. So there are two modules created with the same name. So I will change this to confirmation message. Okay. And that's our other module. So we have scanned all the modules now, which are required for our automation. And now we need to start automating from the point where we left. Okay. So here, after doing the price option verification on the page, okay, so we are buffering some values, we are verifying some values in this table, and now we have to select a particular option, right? So either we will select silver or gold or platinum or ultimate, right? It depends on our test data what we want to select, but depending on that, we need to click on one of these options, and then we'll download the code, and then we'll click on next. So these are the three operations which we have to do on this page. Okay. So let's first create a folder here, and I'm going to say select price option here. Okay. And here I'm going to then add the price option module. So this is the module, right? And now we need to select one of these values. Okay. Now, as I said, uh, which value we are going to select, that completely depends on what is our data point, right? So we need to have some data point here which will tell us what we are going to select, right? Okay, so here in the process, I'm going to add another attribute, okay, and I'm going to name it price option. This will give me all the different price options, and I'm going to create some instances here like silver and gold, then platinum and ultimate. Okay, so these are the four instances, right? So now we want different data points, right? So we want to select different values basically for different test cases. So let me put this or fill this randomly. Okay, so make it orthogonal so it will select some values here. So now we have got some price option which we can select on different test cases. Now depending on what we have been selected here, we will then come here and we will select the price option based on that particular value. Okay. So I'm going to put a condition on this particular folder. Okay. So let's come here and process and price option. And for silver, I'm going to put a condition on this folder, right? So this, and Also, this will be only for the administrative valid option, right? So we don't want it to run for invalid. So I'm going to keep the test data type here and also add this condition here. Okay. Also, coming back here, I don't want to make it an or condition. Actually, it should be and condition. Okay. So if both the conditions are met, then only it will be selected or this will be run. Okay. So now coming here, uh, so let's change this a little bit. Select price option, silver. Okay. And this will remain the same. So here coming back, I just want to click on this. Okay. Because this price option is silver, it is going to click on this. Okay. Now, similarly, I need to create for gold, platinum, and ultimate. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some copies here and just going to change based on the names. Okay, so this will be faster. You can do the same way which I showed for the first instance, but to do this little fast, I am doing it this way. Okay, and platinum, and then I'm going to make it ultimate, right? And let's change the names here. So gold and platinum and ultimate. Okay, so these are the different price options, and we need to change the operation here for that option. So instead of this, so let me just disable this and let me click here. Similarly for ultimate. So do remember, if you don't disable this step, if you have copied paste this folders or steps, right? The action mode is input still. So if you don't disable this, it will still expect a particular value in this particular field. Okay. So do remember that. Uh, and then the last one. Okay. So that's now complete. Now, before we move forward, also, let's see whether the instances are generated correctly based on these conditions which we have put, right? So based on the price option which has been selected for that particular test case, it should only have this particular folder. Okay, so for silver, it will have the silver, not the other three. And similarly for gold, platinum, ultimate, it should have just one folder. Okay, so that's the conditional steps which we have put. So let's go to our template first. Let's check whether there is any errors or not. So click on check template, no errors. Now go to template instance and reinstantiate instances. Okay. So now for a straight through, we have selected silver if you remember, and you see there's just select price option silver. Okay. And then for this valid one, so it will just have one price option, not four price options. So it is gold. And for similarly for this, it is platinum, right? So as you can see, how I'm using the conditions with the test case design, including the instances and attributes to basically design my different scenarios, right? So based on different test data, my test scenarios are designed on that particular test data. So not one of my test case instance has got the same data, right? And that's very important because we want to have the optimal number of test cases instead of all the test cases testing with the same test data. Okay, so that's of no use. So you need to intelligently put conditions on your different test steps or folders in your template, and your test case template should have all those conditions in place so that when you instantiate, it will generate a set of unique test cases for you. Okay. Now, moving forward, we need to add some more operations into our template. So we have basically two more operations, download code and next. Now, I don't need to do a download code for now. We can see it later how we can integrate the PDF comparison, which we have already done, or the PDF verification into this particular scenario. But for now, let's just complete the whole scenario. So I'll be just clicking on next and filling up the fields on the next page, and then basically submitting this application. So it's an end-to-end scenario, right? So it's basically a straightforward scenario, okay, or a straight through scenario, you can say, which all the basic things which an application can do. But then obviously you can expand your test cases, your scenarios based on your user requirements, right? So you can add many things into this particular application, but the goal here is how you can basically do a end-to-end scenario or project in Tosca using all the different components which are present. Okay. So coming back here, we already have this module. So what we are going to do, let's go to our template. And here inside every price option, we have to put this particular click button, okay, so that it completes that particular operation. Now, I would not do it in the same test step since it's like a next test step on clicking on the next button. So what we'll do, we'll again do a select price option module. We'll search for that. And here we are going to click on that button. Okay, so I will rename this test step as click next. And here I'm going to click on the next button. Okay, right. So we also need to have this test step in every folder because depending on the price option, it will has to do that particular operation also, right? And here as well. So that completes our next steps. And then once we reach here, okay, so we click on next and we reach here. Now let's fill these details and click on send. Okay, so for that, again, in the process, let's create another folder here. So we will name this send code, right? So this is the send code. And now inside this, I will add a test step, which is the send code again. Okay, and here we need to fill all the details now. Okay, so these details will uh, again, you don't need to provide static values here. It should be coming from your test design sheet. Okay, so all the values should be configured, no static values in your test case, right? So let's go here into our design sheet, and now we are going to add some more options here. So let's add an attribute called send code. Okay, and inside this, again, another attribute, and this time around I will say email. Okay, and then phone, although we might not use this attribute, username and password, confirm password, and comments. Okay, so these are all the values which we need to enter on this particular page, and that's why I've created all the different attributes. Now I need to create some instances here as well. So I'm going to create some email addresses here. Okay, not necessary that I use um, any specific email, but for now I will just leave it. Okay. And then phone number, as I said, it's not really mandatory right now. It's not a mandatory field, so we can avoid it for now. And username, I will say QA script, right? Password, again, an instance. And I can say test at 123 hash. Okay. And confirm password, again, the same. And comments, for now we can leave it. Okay, so these are all our attributes. Let me just, okay, now we need to select some values here. So for now, I will have the same email address. You can have different email address, but generally it is not the case, right? But if you have got different users, you can have different email addresses here for different test cases. But for now, I will just select the same values. Okay, so let's use this and this. Okay, so that's all our values, and now let's go back to our template. Okay, and here I have to use those values now. So let's do this, and let me go to the particular section, and pull those values which we have. Okay, right. So I need to pull the attributes here. I'm pulling, and username, password. Okay, confirm password. And comments and phone, we can add it later, but these are all the values. Okay, so now we have got all the values which are coming from the test design sheet for this particular page. Okay, and I don't want to execute this again for invalid test cases, because it won't reach to this particular page, right? So I'll put this condition here. Right, after this, okay, so we have done this, and we want to click on send, right? Also, what we have to do is we have to wait for the confirmation message, right? So what we'll do here is, let's add a test step and confirmation message. Okay, so I'll put a wait on here, and I will say if this exists equals true, right? So if this exists, so that's the confirmation message. And let me just check here. Right. So yeah, so if this exists, that means we have got our confirmation message, right? And then we can also click on the OK button. So that's our final step. So I'm adding again this particular test step. This time around, I'm going to say click OK. And here I will say verify confirmation message. And here we are going to click on OK, right? Okay. So that's all our steps. Okay, so we have completed the whole application now. We have entered all the details and click on send, and then we'll get the confirmation. So we'll verify that and we'll click on OK. So it's an end-to-end application, right? All the scenarios, all the pages are covered, all the fields are covered, and at least one straight through scenario is now covered. Okay, there could be more scenarios, as I said. There could be lots of scenarios depending on your testing requirements, right? But once you know the process, you can always add those scenarios back. Okay, so now final thing which is left is to check for the template, whether it is still valid or not, and then reinstantiate our instances so that all the new attributes and values are displayed here. So in the process, now we have an additional step for send code, okay, and it has got all the different test step and their values. Okay, so now it is just a matter of running this particular test cases. Okay, so what we'll do, first of all, let's try it in Scratchbook, and then we can also run it from the execution list. Okay, so let me run this in Scratchbook. So great, everything was successful. You can see it waited for that confirmation message. And instead of a static wait, I used a dynamic wait, which is wait on method. So it will wait for that particular control on that page, no matter how much time it takes. And then it will click on OK. Now it's not a live application, so we cannot, it doesn't send an actual email to the email address which we provide. So we cannot do that email verification part. But with Tosca, you can even do that. Okay. So either you do it through the UI, or if you have an API. So if the API is sending that particular email message to that email address, then you can integrate the APIs into this particular test case. Now we have already seen how you can build your API test case. So you just need to integrate it basically in the next test steps. You just add those API scenarios here so that you can even verify the email which is going to that particular email address. So that will be like a complete integration of all the different components of your application, right? And this is how you can perform an end-to-end scenario using all the different components, which is test case designing, the test case template, the template instances, and even requirements. We have already added a few requirements, right? And then the modules, we have added lots of modules in this for this application. And then finally the execution, right? So we already have different execution lists, right? And if you're working on a real project, you will also have test events, right? So to run this on a distributed execution, so on different agents, okay? So if you have that kind of a setup, you can even create test events that is only available with a multi-user workspace. So once that is there, you can even run it there, okay? Just to wrap this up, okay, for this live project, which we have completed right now, what we can do is we can come here. Okay, so we can synchronize this here and here, just to make sure that it has got all the changes from our recent changes which we have done. Okay, so if I can run one of these test cases from an execution list, it will have the same results. There is no difference between Scratchbook and execution list. It is just that it will store the results in my execution list. Okay. So, but to make sure that everything is still working as expected from the execution list, I'm also running it from the execution list. Okay. But you expect the same things. Okay. And the same results. The only part which I did not show was you clicking on that particular PDF button and then extracting that PDF, scanning and PDF verification, which we have seen separately, um, into this particular test case. Okay. So you can see here now the execution list is storing the results. So you have got the result with the date of execution and time. The duration is also there, right? So you can execute all the execution lists which we have created for all the different scenarios. And as I have explained earlier, you can use the print view option to basically export this into a report, right? So you can use any format into Excel. into a PDF. So all the formats are here, whichever you want to use. Okay. And if I want to use Excel just for reporting purpose, I can export it and I can save it here. Okay, and then it will open it in Excel. Obviously, it will require some formatting, which you can do on your own. Okay, but after that, it will look proper. So this you can even use it as a reporting format and to provide reports to your management, right? Just need to format a few lines here and there, and this report would be perfect for you. And you can always add and remove columns from your execution so that it will appear the same way in your report. Okay, so you can generate any PDF, any Excel report based on your requirement. That's how you will work on a real-time scenario. Okay, just make sure you are using the correct or you are using the best practices whenever you are developing any particular project or you are working on any project. Always use a component folder to store all your components. Okay, and create these execution modules, requirements, test case design, test cases inside the component folder. So if you are working on a large project or you're working on multiple projects, you can have multiple component folders, but make sure that you use that because that's one of the best practice, and also it is easy to maintain. Okay, and then naming conventions you have to use, right? Make sure you are not using any constant values in your test cases. You are always parameterizing it. So you can do it using test configuration parameter, or you can use your test case design to basically enter all the values. You have to use conditions in order to have separate instances for different scenarios, right? And this was our complete end-to-end live project.